This meeting is being recorded.
Hey everybody, welcome to the meeting. Today we're going to be talking about the Bowers machine parts and its productivity. Today we have Mr. Daniel Compton, Mr. Edward Jacksons, Ms. Sophia Ramirez, Mr. Luke Howard, and then Ms. Corinne Zimmer. Let's go ahead and kick things off and just talk about some specific problems that we realized and saw with the company.
I'm going to share my screen because I'm the note taker. Can y'all see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty, so yeah, what
I definitely say one of the major problems is lack of communication in decision-making roles, which is seen whenever, the Helena comes in and starts making decisions. And there was the vice president of production, I believe, for 20 years, who she didn't even consult with or, come to for advice, which is just not something that's very smart, when you're fresh to the company and don't know much about it.
I think another one of the problems that has popped up is how the turnover rate has increased since Helen has become involved with the company.
I also believe that we should look at her as the problem rather than the employees that she's blaming it on.
I also think there's a clear lack of trust within the organization. She tried to do her own thing, change the way it's been going. Her father ran the company successfully for 20 years, and she tried to do it the way she wanted to do it, and it ended up not working out in her favor, and that's why she called us.
I think another problem too is that she doesn't listen to any of her managers, and she makes the decisions totally on her own. So she doesn't listen as well, which is why the turnover rate has probably increased.
Yeah, I agree with Ms. Zimmer. Yeah, there's not any kind of clear expectations or roles for anybody. And there's no respect for like the duties and everything that people have. And I feel like that's major. And that also comes along with what Edward was saying. There is a lack of trust there. So having, reliability for your workers and having that trust and infrastructure built into your company is major. And so I agree. Was it Luke saying lack of communication?
Yeah.
I'm right there with you as well. Having that communication across the board, so everybody's on the same page, everybody's doing their own unique and individual jobs, and having that trust behind it is what's going to make this company thrive. I agree with everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like how Luke said, she went and made a decision without even consulting the VP of production. And as we all know, production has decreased since she's taken over. So her making those decisions on her own just never helped.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So why don't we I feel like we need to establish some true criteria as to what the problem really is.
I think employee satisfaction is a major criteria here. I think if she were to, boost employee satisfaction, the production levels would increase like she wanted in the original plan.
My biggest one was probably increasing communication levels, not just with the VP, but how she communicates to people. You saw in the study about how she was basically laughing at that manager and his little group and their work ethic and criticizing their performance. And that's just not the way you want to run a company. It doesn't help anything.
Going back off of employee satisfaction, the shortened lunch breaks really get to me, because I feel like breaks, non-work activities really lower the production as well. Makes more stress, more fatigue, more hunger. It's just not really a way to go about things.
I also think that she should be taking the employees into consideration with all of the important people and members of their team leaving. That will definitely decrease the production even more.
I think
So
just
what do
to
y'all
add
think are
on-
some like, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I think just to add on, just like, we need to make sure that the criteria does increase, like, or decrease the turnover rate and increase productivity while, satisfying the employees and increasing communication levels.
Yeah. So what are y'all thinking about, possible solutions that we could come up with that would increase profits?
I think we
I
can,
think,
oh, you can go ahead.
I think she could start by bringing back some employee benefits, such as bringing back the company softball fields and increasing the lunch breaks. I think that is the first start.
One thing I
Yeah.
would say is we could take Helen out of some of the decision-making processes and leave it to the managers that are in charge of those areas.
I also agree. I think somebody should maybe not replace her, but work alongside her to kind of guide her into the right direction of how to run the business.
Agreed. Why have managers if you're not going to listen to their insight? I feel like more brain power on making those decisions would benefit Helen a lot.
Yeah, I agree with Corinne. I feel like there has to be dedicated time for the employees to have their breaks, take time to themselves, communicate with their coworkers and not necessarily in just a work fashion, but a time to decompress and kind of take things down. So you can be mentally sharp, you're excited. I also feel like a reasonable amount of PTO should be afforded to all the coworkers as well. Just because people need that time off, they need that time to themselves, they need the time with their family, with their friends, with everything else. Because in the long run, as long as you're happy, you like where you work, and you feel like the company is supporting you in all these ways, that's where you're going to find true productivity with your workers and with everybody around you. When you have that camaraderie, with your coworkers, and then you feel respected out of work, when you can take that time to yourself.
So do you think that really the gist of it, like a simplified solution, would be to revert back to her father's basically business model, the way he ran the company, the family style, where he really truly cared about everybody and just it was literally run like a family instead of this dictatorship, which is what it feels like or sounds like?
I totally
Uh,
agree with that, Luke.
Yeah, I feel like things could be tightened up a little bit for sure, but I would not want to go to the extreme of neglecting people, neglecting their voice, and neglecting their time. I'm all for putting expectations higher, maybe having things, be a little more professional. But when that comes with a complete blatant disregard of, what people actually need, that's where it becomes an issue. And that's what the issue that we're seeing.
For sure.
So I feel like, yeah, a modified model of the old business plan. Absolutely.
So she just needs to find that happy medium.
Absolutely.
So we're basically just combining all the solutions because they all revert back to how our father used to run the business. So that way we can decrease
Being
turnover,
recorded.
increase production, and continue to get the business back on track to where it used to be.
I'm sorry, you guys. I just got kicked out for some reason, but I'm back in. Sorry.
All good.
Y'all ready to
Well, I really
evaluate
didn't
some of
hear,
these solutions?
I didn't hear much of like, probably like the last half minute of what you said. Would you mind repeating that? Because it kind of gave me that ring whenever Todd joined.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
I was just saying that it kind of, when we combine all the solutions, it reverts us back to how her father used to run the business by decreasing the turnover rate, increasing production, and, making our employees enjoy working more so we can bring the company back to what it used to be and possibly improve it from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it,
Mhm.
Right.
And he had really high profits, it seemed like. And, she changes one thing, everybody starts leaving. It's just, I feel like people really just don't like change, to be honest with you.
Right.
So
Yeah,
is that
so-
what we're going with for sure as our
Yeah.
conclusion?
So if we're evaluating them, we're kind of just saying we're going to combine all of them so we can use the last one to revert it back to her father's business style.
Didn't seem like change was really necessary in this
Yeah.
problem.
At least not on the extreme.
Yeah, not the extreme.
Okay, are we ready to conclude?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
So to kind of wrap it up today, we wanted to discuss the problems at her company, and we came to the conclusion that it was between her and a lack of trust with her employees and everybody involved. People were leaving and she got rid of their very important things. So we kind of just came to the conclusion that she should revert back to her old ways or her father's old ways and bring back some of those things that were really important to them, at least for a start. To bring back their productivity. Does everybody agree?
Yeah,
Yes.
Agreed.
absolutely.
Perfect. Okay.
All right.
Well, perfect.
Are we
Sounds
good?